Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army.
So what's up, guys? Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hi.
Hey.
I was invited.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's all you okay.
Much like vampires, I just have to be invited and then I'll show up.
Aw.
That's actually not fully true, but I
I
try.
was gonna say, wait, vampire, if you're near me, I invite you.
Vampire, get in my house, please.
Oh, nobody showed up.
Maybe they're just really far away and they're just like they have to travel. to get there.
Oh, maybe. That's possible.
They're on their
Almost
way.
here.
There's potential.
All right,
A bird.
you guys. That's Paul. That's
Hi, Paul.
We've hung out at a Renaissance fair one time.
Nice.
Oh my
Nice.
goodness.
What more do you
Paul?
need?
Nope, that was good. Also has bird in the name, so I was inclined to be positive at the start.
We like, yeah,
Yep.
Birds.
we are fans of birds.
We are fans of birds.
I can name at least 4 of them.
Go on.
Yeah, come on.
No.
Dude,
They
Are they
four
the
birds,
4 that
Emily.
were in these books?
Red-tailed hawk.
Nailed
Aw.
Done. Most
Nailed
important one, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to segue. I'm going to Paul Blart this into what we're doing here today. Thank you for saying red-tailed hawk. We're here because we forced Emily to read Animorphs, and we did too. Yeah. So we brought forth a panel of experts. Can I make the sounds of all of them? I can. It is way too loud for this mic, though, Bean. Remind me in person. We will do it. Yeah, but we read all of Animorphs. Well, not all. We read the first 5. If we read all, that'd be freaking insane. That'd be 60 goddamn books in one sitting. That is a lot. But we read the first 5 books of Animorphs. We have a panel of experts here. We have Jenna, who has had her own Animorphs podcast. She's been on our Animorphs podcast. She has been reading Animorphs forever. She's going to keep shaking her head. So I'm going to keep talking and telling you just how great she is and how much she knows about Animorphs.
This is
Also an
not
Animorphs
Questmaster.
Doesn't matter.
All the adjectives. Let's go.
All the
Give her a second. She's got that
incredible,
doc ready.
amazing, expert. Yeah, I have my doc.
Absolutely
Don't
not.
worry. And then we have Kaycie here. Kaycie, who has done Animorphs Anonymous, this podcast, with me for many, many years, and who is an expert in Animorphs, having read through the entire series and dissected every single book on your journey to read through it. And then we have a swan named Emily, who we made read the books for the first time, but whose sister has been desperately trying to bully her into it for years.
Yep. It's happening. It's finally happening.
Incredible.
I'm
I
ready.
love it. And I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so happy to talk about these books.
Hell yeah.
All right. Anything else that we need to tell these people before we start getting into talking about Animorphs?
Who are you?
Oh,
Who are
Alex.
you?
Who are
And
you?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm Alex of Animorphs Anonymous, this podcast. We started it in 2017, so a few years ago. And then Kaycie and I went on to read other Apple Grant properties, and we picked up Tim along the way to help us on our journey. But we're like, you know what? Listen, Gone is great. Gone is what we're reading right now, and it is very good. Listen, Michael Grant fans, it's a very good book. Not as good as Frontlines, IMO.
Yeah.
Preference, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
But Gone's incredible.
we're like a third of the way through, but yeah.
That's true. I shouldn't judge. I liked Frontlines more thus far. But yeah, so we were like, hey, let's get back to Animorphs because some of us are playing Animorphs D&D. All of us just did the Hork-Bajir Chronicles on Dungeons and Drake and Beams. So yeah, we've had a wild experience of our books. So shall I kick us off with book number 1? Give you guys a quick thing and then we can get into it.
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
Are we allowed to
so
swear?
excited. I think so. I don't
Okay.
know. No one cares. It's just getting Austin's channel banned. What does he care? I'm kidding. We're on twitch.tv/Animorphs Anonymous. It's fine.
Not even the worst thing we've done on his actual channel. So
True. We keep
Mhm.
threatening to get our tits out. So
Our great tits. Or
Yes.
yeah, we're
that
talking
we
about
have.
Duh.
Duh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Statement before I get into this, Bean. Yes, we should absolutely go to that Ren Fair sometime this year. Please tell me when you're coming up here. Okay. Book 1 of Animorphs, the very first book we read. Swan, this is really for I'm tunnel vision on you right now because you just read them all so fast.
I did so fast.
so very fast. Book 1, where our kids go to the construction site after meeting up at the mall. They run into an alien whose ship has just crashed. They find out that there's an intergalactic war taking place on our very planet where people that you know are taken over by slugs that can enter your ear canal, take over your brain, and impersonate you perfectly. They're given the power to morph by a dying Andalite, the good guys for all intents and purposes at this point. And the only thing that they have to battle these alien races is the power of turning into any animal they can touch. And the end of the book is them going down to the Yerk pool for the first time, seeing the horrors of war, basically losing their first battle, and Tobias falling prey to the one caveat of the morph cube, which is you can't stay in morph for longer than 2 hours, and now he's a red-tailed hawk forever. That's book 1.
Yeah.
Emily, what did you think?
So there's something I love about like young adult books, and it's because we have had podcasts dissecting them a whole bunch the last couple of years, is they get you right into it. Like we are dropped into the action immediately, and I kind of love it. Also, they read so fast. I'm just like, why would I ever read other books when I could just read books like this? I will say though, my big thing is, so I knew there are like little tidbits of Animorphs information that I kind of know from being in the world and it being in the cultural zeitgeist. So I knew that the Tobias thing was going to happen eventually. I did not know it happened immediately. So that was huge. I was like, oh my gosh, it's already like, like all of the consequences they had to deal with right away. Oh, it was really good. It's a really good first book.
It's so good. I'm just gonna keep round tabling this. Jenna, tell me your thoughts on this reread.
Oh my god. I'm so like it felt like coming home. I was so excited. I love every ounce of it. And yeah, you do kind of forget that Tobias happens so fast. Like it happens immediately at the end of the book, and you're just like, oh no, he has to be there forever.
Yeah. Kaycie.
I mean, it's classic. It's like, here it is. Here are these characters. The stakes are high immediately. It's only going to get worse from here. I got to partake in the audiobook this time, and it was utterly delightful. Jake's narrator was great. He put so much like performance and nuance into his reading, and weird pronunciations aside, which I don't agree with, but that's fine. Yeah, it was spectacular, and I love this book, and I love Jake.
I like Jake a lot.
Yeah,
I do. In this book especially, like it will say, having now read the first 5 and getting a moment to spend time with each of the main, he was a very nice entry point into it. He is that, like, because he is kind of deemed leader of the group, it is a very blank slate to kind of like follow along with. He was not the biggest personality of the group, but he was still making decisions and driving the plot forward. So that's a very, like, it makes it very easy to jump in on this and follow along. So, he's meant to be palatable, I think, in that.
That is, I mean, genuinely, that's an incredible insight too, because like, I don't know. I never got that because I didn't start reading it, Jake. So like, and neither did you. I mean,
nope.
Spoilers, you read Hork-Bajir Chronicles before.
I read it in the most traditional way possible. In the Hork-Bajir Chronicles was my first book.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the other thing too. So having that be the only thing I know and what we played in Hork-Bajir Chronicles, I was not expecting to be confronted with Hork-Bajir immediately as well. Mm-hmm. Like that was such a surprising thing for me. I was like, oh, they're here. They're immediately here. And it was so weird for me because I have, out of all the things that I have for this series, I already have compassion for this creature base, which I wouldn't have had I not read that book first. So that was a very interesting, like, oh no, like I know they look scary, but I'm like, but they're so sweet. And one of them's named Y'all, and one of them's named Keffa.
Definitely. Oh my god, I love that too. And like, you know, Elfanger is like, hey, these are the Hork-Bajir. I know they look scary, but like they are to be pitied because, you know, they were captured against their will. And the kids are like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. They're horrifying. I hate them. And I'm
Salad
just sitting
shooters.
here like, yeah, salad shooters, ew. And I'm just like, oh no.
No, you
the
should really
babies."
pity them.
No, they're so nice, and it wasn't their fault.
Had the feels.
That's a lot of feels. And Hork-Bajir Chronicles is supposed to be such a big drop for like, hey, the things that have only been horrifying goblins for like 30 books. Just
Yeah.
kidding. They're amazing. And like, I know they say it in book 1. Like Elfangor does say that, but like, it doesn't resonate the same way at all.
Yeah, because you never see them be scary for the longest time.
And disposable, scary and disposable, which was
Mhm.
also a very strange thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was unprepared for how disposable all of the host bodies were. Again, coming from Hork-Bajir Chronicles, where it was such like it was still in the infancy of like everyone we can control is precious, and now it was just like the lack of any moment of thought before they were wiped out. I was like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
oh no, oh no.
And just like
Dead.
lack of preciousness. The one thing that I completely forgot about was like, and I think I forget about this every single time, was Chapman being like, just cut off the heads of whoever's here and bring me them for identification. And you're like, this is 10
Yeah.
pages in, my God.
Yeah. It's 10 pages in a kid's book.
Incredible. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really, really good first book.
I'm so glad that you liked it. Like, I don't know. I feel like the first book sometimes is like people are like, it's cheesy. And it's like, so good though.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe because I came into it in a weird way, even with all this, like knowing we had this stream, knowing that I have friends who love this series and family who loves this series, like I didn't feel any pressure for it. I kind of already knew like it's going to get heavy and it's going to get like it's going to be a lot of things. And so I just get to kind of coast into it and just follow wherever the book takes me and kind of get in the flow of how this author writes and how the world is built. And so I don't know, it felt very, in a weird sense of reading, it felt very low stakes, while the stakes were clearly very high in the book.
I love that.
I love that.
I think maybe this is the kind of series you're better going in a little bit prepared. Otherwise, you might be like, oh no, what am I reading? But I don't know, because I read the books as an adult, and I don't know what it was like to read it as a kid.
Only Jenna and I will know that.
Yeah.
It's a secret we keep from the rest of you.
Graves.
We will lie to you forever.
Too late. You'll never know.
It's just like if you really like once you get to the end of the series, I feel like people are like, I understand you and Jenna now as people. Like I see you built your personalities on
Yeah.
A fluffer McKitty.
Oh my goodness.
I'm in one book too early.
No, I think that's a perfect Vera, should we go to book 2?
Oh,
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
That was a good purr of
no.
yes.
Look at that baby face. Oh my goodness.
I just love her little mittens and her little bib.
Oh.
She's so cute.
So
See,
the audience
baby.
knows she hung out with me the entire day today as I read these books. So she was along for the ride. Yeah.
It's
good to have an emotional support animal when you're reading about all this horrible trauma.
It is.
Especially like, okay, now we'll get there. Book 2. Let's do book 2. Book 2 is really quickly for everybody here who's new. And yes, Bean, you should be reading this series, especially now that you're watching D&DB. But book 2 was from Rachel's perspective, who is incredible. And that's my personal opinion, okay? Take that out of the summary, set it aside for just a moment. Anyways, the whole plot of this book is that we are following from Rachel's perspective as we get into the sort of effects of the war, Tobias being a hawk, that kind of stuff. And what eventually leads us into, we find out her best friend, Melissa Chapman, is the daughter of Principal Chapman, who is like the semi-BBEG. He's like the one step before the BBEG of the first book. So they come up with this whole plan to like break into his house and like figure out some information, see what he's up to. And she ends up finding out how broken it's left Melissa now that both of her parents are controllers. That gives her reason to fight. And then, of course, she sneaks back in as a cat both times. Fluffer McKitty are one of our favorite jokes of all time. And then they find her in the basement because Chapman accidentally kicks her the second time she snuck down. And after Visitor 2 talked about how great cats were, they did take her and go to kill her. But then there's like a last minute rescue. Jake was on her as a flea. There's a whole fight scene with a big monster. She escapes. It's great. And we find out about Rachel. So that's book 2, sorta. Okay. I'm going to go different order this time. Kaycie, you start.
Bro, okay. So cut back to 2018 or whenever the fuck we first read this book. And maybe not this book, maybe it was the next Rachel book, but I was like, I don't know about Rachel. I'm not really resonating with Rachel, blah, 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 blah. She's very, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, oh, I love you. I adore you so much. And like everything you do makes so much sense to me. And just, you are so strong and so like wanting to save everyone and wanting to put on a brave face. And I just, so I've come around is what I'm trying to get at.
I love it. Jenna?
I love Rachel so much. I always have. She's always been just the number one. But also, can we talk about, let me just try a quick double morph. That was so fast. That was so soon. That's the one that I really forgot happened so early. I'm like, hold on. What? You can do that? You can do that already? Jake, the hell?
And the morphing like one part of your body, like with the cat paw into the fingers thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like they leveled up, man. You're like, how can we use this to our advantage?
Emily?
I really like Rachel. I'm curious if I had read her as a kid, if all of the like popular and beautiful stuff would have hit me different. But I just, as an adult, I really, really liked her. I liked her motivations. I liked being in her head, and I freaking loved all of the cat stuff. Like anytime they were talking about the cats, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm sold. Like, do I even need to read more? I'm just happy. This is nice.
When do I get to morph a cat?
I was like, are you ready? We can do it. No, it was a lot of fun. I really liked this one. And it had more of that kind of slow build, like ongoing tenseness, which was really fun. As they were getting more information and as they were learning stuff along with it. And I like that they're still, it's written that they are still doing this with kid brain. Like a lot of the decisions are so kid brain, and like I really enjoyed that because that is, I feel like this is so in line with how those problems would have been solved, and you wouldn't have maybe have taken so much time to like think through all the consequences or think through the options. Like there's this haste that they all have, and they're just, yeah, let's do it, let's go. This one was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm so glad. All of this was beyond my wildest dreams of response to the first Rachel book. Like, I've given myself away. Rachel's my favorite character. Always, like, I have never wavered in Rachel being my favorite. Like, I've loved the other kids more, but I love her so much. This is just such a good book. Plus, we get our first instances of Visitor 3 being like, cats are the greatest thing on earth.
We're gonna love that so much.
I love that he's a cat fangirl.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're really efficient. And like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I mean, still kill it, but no, cool.
Like, yeah, get rid of it. But like, also, I wish we could
Props.
take these things over. Yeah, I love this thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think I'm impressed too. I feel like they're doing a really good job, even already at this point, of making Visor 3 feel very powerful, feel very intimidating, and have a lot of real consequences. And that's impressive to me because it's always the funny thing about being adult and reading a story that centers on kids, because the great thing about reading it as a kid is these big things feel as big as they do as most things when you're a kid. And now as an adult, it was just like, I don't have to worry about going to school. I'm not worried about pop quizzes because I don't have to worry about that anymore. But I don't know, it still manages to feel very menacing and very serious and balanced in that, I guess. Like, no, I'm impressed. I'm impressed at that. I like that a lot.
I love that. That is one of the things that I don't know, Jenna, if you feel this, but like in the D&D Animorphs that we play, like that is one of the things that homework is so important. And like the things like that you don't think about in a D&D game that for us I think are really hard to get around are like curfew. And it's like, as a 30 some odd year old, like it doesn't mean anything to me anymore, but now I have to care about like curfews and homework.
Yeah. Having to remind yourself to remind your character to do their homework and check their phone to see if dad is called. It's a wild thing.
But yeah, it is really important in these books for so long. And like it also provides this really great foil of when they go back to school and it's that immediate like Lord of the Rings ending of like, none of you even know. None of you even know. You don't get it. Like, we're sitting here in the Green Dragon drinking our ale, and none of you understand the shit that just happened to us.
I think the other like really significant highlight of this book was Chapman's fighting back against their Yeerks. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like, damn. It's like, we did not think we could do that. We established the rules of the universe in the first book. It's like there's voluntary hosts and there are people that are taken forcibly. And there might be like a one-off mention of like, oh yeah, sometimes the host can fight back, but whatever. But like the fact that you've established this character as such a villain and then you humanize him so early in the series is just oh boy.
Yeah. Another part that I forgot about that was the note back to Melissa, because I remembered that she like had that note back to Melissa, right? And like said that stuff. But I forgot how much that part of Rachel's character isn't just the intensity, it's the passion as well. And so her being like, love is such a big part of this. And like that in book 2 being established is like, that's how much Melissa's parents love her. They will overcome incredible things for her just to protect her in some small way. And like, that's amazing.
It was very fun the way that it was described when control was being battled for. Like I liked it in book 1 where they were talking about Jake and his brother Tom, where it was kind of like you could almost see something, like it would slip for a second and then come back. And I really, really liked the little snippets of what we got about Melissa personally and how she was reacting to things, and just how like I think the idea that the Yeerks are like, no, we can mimic it exactly. We have control of the brain. We know exactly how to act like this. But because there's nothing behind it, people around can tell. Like she can tell that her parents aren't themselves. Not in an adult brain way where you could actually figure out that something might be wrong, but just in a kid way of like, oh God, what have I done? What have I done to make them upset with me? What have I done to, make them act differently? And like that extra level of heartbreaking. And so, yeah, when Rachel going up as the cat and like snuggling with her, and I was just like, oh my God, the comfort, my heart. Oh, that's so good.
Bro, when Chapman's got Fluffer in the carrier and he's taking her out to the car and Melissa's running after him being like, what are you doing with my cat? Do you have Fluffer? Why aren't you answering me? And just that was making tears happen. And then when she was like, I was screaming at you, why didn't you acknowledge me? And he was like, oh, I didn't see you. I'm just like,
Oh, can you imagine how wrecked you'd be as a kid?
oh my God.
Yeah, just oh my God, gut punch.
Oh, it hurts and I don't like it.
Oh, well, good news. We have book 3 to cheer us up, kids.
Great.
I'll say
God
that was
damn
at
it.
least some. Again, we talked about the knowing a little bit beforehand, knowing that I was going to constantly be wrecked because of this series is actually a little helpful. I'm not going to lie, because I'm like, oh no, it's very much the the scene in Harry Potter is like, well, you're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it. So that's what I was expecting.
Yeah. Easy.
Oh man. Yeah. And then Austin's in the fucking chat wrecking us again with like the Yerks how they don't have flawless deceptions because some kind of love you can't fake. Shut up, Austin. I don't want to play
Well, they've
D&D
also-
with you anymore.
Why
They've
do you
never
only exist
infested
to
a
hurt
species
me?
that shows emotion in that way.
Right? Oh my God. Oh man. Yeah, there's so much about like that's the other thing that I love about this series. Like without spoilers, because I am trying to keep it like somewhat spoiler free-ish for Emily. Because there's some stuff that's just gonna hit you so much harder, right? Like if you have to experience it. But like the nuances of like the human brain in comparison to how they built the aliens, like there's so much there that's about like emotion and intensity and things that aren't valued, I think, a lot in the society that we live in, and why those things are powerful and not weakness. And I fucking love those views. Okay, book 3. You guys ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
Book 3, our super happy Tobias book where everything is great and everyone's happy. Yeah, so Tobias is dealing with his new life as a red-tailed hawk because he was Nothlit into one, and he's kind of coming to terms with living with the predator brain inside of him and having the desire to hunt but not wanting to give in to that and still wanting to be human, and what his role in the world is. That whole time that's happening, there's this whole truck ship plot going on where he finds a ship that's like flying through to pick up water and supplies that they need in space, and then almost kind of without him, even though it's all from his perspective, the rest of the team goes on a mission where they like turn into fish and get sucked up and get taken into the thing. And like that is theoretically the plot of the book, but I think the real plot is Tobias going through all of that and having a breakdown and trying to potentially, end it all in the mall with a large window and like saying goodbye to that part of his life. And then also when he finds the strength to like help. This is my favorite moment, so I'm going to go into detail this one moment, and then I swear I'm going to dive back out. One of my all-time favorite moments in the series is Tobias, who just got Nothlit, making that eye contact with Marco as they're trying to demorph from wolves when they've gone over the time limit by a few minutes, and just saying hate me and use that hatred to get out of it. One of my favorite character moments of all time in any book. But yeah, so we kind of go through Tobias's perspective, and by the end of the book he is both hunting and living more peacefully with himself as a hawk. I love this book. Kaycie's first book.
Aww.
Heck yeah. Oh my
Thank you,
gosh.
Jim.
So good. All right, Jenna, I'm going to make you tell me your thoughts and feelings first this time.
Of the first 5 to 10 books, this has always been my favorite. I love it so much. I don't know really, like the boldness to put that mall scene in a kid's book is insanity to me. It's so fucking good, but you don't imagine that somebody's gonna write that for a children's series.
You don't, but I'm like, there's so much of this that I'm so glad they did. This is how you know your parents did not give a shit about what you read as a kid. Bye, Bean. Thanks for
Bye,
Thank you.
Erner.
All right, Emily.
So I think I loved the book. it was impressive to me that even with just the 3 books, they all managed to feel very different, and each kid felt different, which was cool. I was really impressed that there was what felt like an appropriate amount of buildup to the mall scene. It felt like somebody going through it and reaching that point of despair and not being able to see a way out of it. And I think I was really impressed because I didn't feel like it talked down to kids. It didn't be like, "Oh, you're gonna miss
No.
this and you're gonna miss that." It was the character having the realizations like, I used to think that I never wanted to go to school and I never wanted to do these things and I never wanted to, I was bored sitting on the couch watching TV, but I would now kill for that level of boredom and that normalcy. And it felt like that could be so relatable in the language that a kid would understand. So obviously it's a very heavy thing, but it still felt gentle in its delivery to a kid in kind
Mhm.
of an incredibly heavy concept that I think would be hard to just kind of be like, "Yep, he's sad, so he's going to do something about it." It was you got to see what things really affected him and which parts of it were really, really sticking with him and really driving him. And like that just, oh, I thought it was beautifully written and heartbreaking. Yeah. No, the scene later on, so you get through all that and then things are, I don't want to say on the upswing, because I don't ever really feel thus far that things are ever on the upswing. But the kids, they're plucky, so they keep going. But that moment, like even with the time being such in the forefront of all of the characters' minds, it's still being something that sneaks up on them. And like that fear, that I almost want to say like that wolf scene hit me harder than many of the other ones because it felt so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And especially Tobias lies about the time too. Like, oh, we know how much worse is. Okay. Kaycie.
Yeah. So this is my first Animorphs book. I've read it quite a few times as a kid. Obviously, without the whole context of the series, I was like, "Oh, the bird boy is sad," blah blah blah. And then, obviously, as an adult, it was like, "Oh no, oh this is bad." And then just going through it this time, I think this is one of my favorite books in the whole series. It does so much, and like you were saying about the 2-hour time limit, like every time Tobias is like riding somebody saying like, "Hey, you only have this amount of time left. Hey, you guys are like dicking around over here. You have to keep track of the time." Like that really came through for me this read through. And like obviously the mall scene is devastating. Chris Grind's graphic novel adaptation of book 3, I literally I got to that part and the way that he drew that and portrayed it like shattered me. I physically had this very visceral reaction to that scene, and then reading through it again here, it's just like, oh my god. And the fact that it was Marco that threw the baseball, Marco who he thought hated him and used him as an example to get him out of Wolfmar. It's so beautiful. Oh my god. I hate it.
I love this book so much. And I love that one of my favorite things is when you're talking about Tobias in this day and age, it's hard to talk about him without mentioning also that he has become a sort of icon for trans kids and that kind of thing, because it's the conversation about being okay with your body or trying to find peace with your body, or maybe what can you do to kind of live in that space where you're not comfortable with yourself. And I love that even though that's not a particular struggle that I have had, it's there's so much emotion to grasp onto and to feel in this. It kind of, I feel helps perspective shift, but also makes me feel very, very strongly about so many different things that happen to, and the level of emotion that they're able to get from this book is insanity. And it is the third one. What the hell?
I know. That truly, like, the level of emotion is insane. Like the scene at the end when he does finally reach out to Rachel and goes to talk about these things, and that's when he learns that, hey, by the way, I like you too, bud. Because she pulls out a photo of him that he didn't know that she had, and it's like, oh, you guys, stop it! No, stop it! Stop it!
The willingness to be vulnerable in that and going and seeking out comfort and like, oh my gosh, like, and being rewarded by finding someone who is a safe place for you, like.
And the fact that she like made a birdhouse and like put it outside her window for him to
land on.
Fuck off.
And everybody is just like so accommodating for him in this space. Like Jake makes a home for him upstairs in the attic and all these different things.
Oh my God. And the part of that I love is like, they're all making these spaces and Tobias feels bad being like, but this isn't working for me. Like I totally recognize that you're trying to do this for me, but it's not what I need. And like, that's such another like crazy concept, I feel like for YA novels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason that he's like not telling everybody this at first is because he doesn't want to inconvenience their feelings and their thoughts. It's like, stop it, stop it, you're killing me. Stop speaking to me so loud.
Oh my God.
No, and even like there's something I am let's see how I want to say this. I had no expectations of how the books would be written because I've never read anything else by K.A. Applegate or any of the other pen names. So I wasn't sure, how that was going to feel, but it is so well written and I just love how the kids will even say something that might cross the line but own up to it and apologize and have complex feelings over it, and just the way that they process through things makes it feel incredibly real and heartfelt, and yeah, it's just real. It makes it feel very real.
I love it so much.
So sad.
Okay. Is there any more thoughts about book 3 or shall we recap book 4?
I have every THOT about book 3, but
I know that's the thing. It's so hard. Like
There's
of
so
all
much.
of this run, like 3 is definitely probably one of the most devastating. I'll say that 5 is pretty devastating too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, he shoots a gun as a hawk on a
Which I
spaceship.
know,
which
it
is
was
really
fucking
cool.
metal as hell.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that scene where he's like flat on the truck ship,
Oh,
Yeah.
so fucking cool.
And again, trying to figure out how to say this in that it hits so much harder when you watch the kids kind of get to a point of like, nope, this is it. Like we cannot think our way out of this. And we're just like, well, if this is what has to happen, then this is what I'm going to do. Like, oh my gosh. I'm just like, oh, your acceptance of this, like, I was not ready for that. I am not ready to accept that. No, I'm sorry. I cannot turn this page just now because I'm not ready to accept this. But in that, like, I love that you are even at this point already seeing outside of Tobias, like you are seeing the actual effect this is having on the kids themselves, starting to talk about nightmares, starting to talk about flashbacks or things like you are seeing the manifestations of this stress and this fear affect them. And yeah.
you don't even know.
I know. I know.
The
That's why
building
I'm like,
blocks of PTSD down right here.
just give me a cube and I can just download it all at once.
Yeah.
Oh man. And it's okay, sorry, one more thought from me.
No, have as
It's
many
so
thoughts as you
interesting.
want.
I just so reading Gone right now, where the kids are thrown into this like very high stress, survival situation. And obviously like the variables are very different, but like the amount of them that just like snap immediately or like break down and like to a place where they can't function, versus these kids who are just like, oh yeah, we're stuck. Okay, we're gonna make these, plans, and then we're gonna, go down fighting, and we're not gonna let them know that we're human. And yep, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm like, you are precocious as fuck. Like, what the hell, man? So
They really are.
I don't know. It's interesting, but I love it.
Okay, I'm gonna just tail end your thought, and then I swear we'll get to book 4. One of the things that I love that, like, especially reading Gone right now and then revisiting Animorphs, I adore the, like, grittiness, the, like, reality of the situation of, like, kids will not act perfectly. They will devolve. They will, like, and adults too. Like, it's just because it's written towards kids. People aren't good people in these situations a lot of the time when
Mhm.
they're stressed out. It takes a high level of fortitude to remain like a above board type of person.
Yep.
But there is something so magical when Michael Grant writes with Catherine, and you just get that touch of softness to it that it's magical. And like, I love Gone. Don't get me wrong. I love the way the kids act in there. But in here, where they just have that little bit of something else that she adds, I'm like, oh, this is perfect characters.
Agreed. Oh.
Okay, book 4. So book 4 is our Cassie book, our wonderful, amazing rehabber Cassie, who's sensitive and in touch with emotions and feelings. And we start out this book with Cassie, I'm sure with animals, right? It starts with the squirrel where she's morphing a squirrel to figure out who's killing the patients. She finds out it's a fox and so on and so forth. But what ends up happening is she and Tobias get these visions or sounds or something that causes them to pass out and react. And they hear people crying for help, and they have intense dreams and all that kind of stuff. And we eventually find out that that's not a hallucination. That's an Andalite cry for help. They find out there's an Andalite trapped at the bottom of the ocean. They come up with a plan to get down there. There's one really bad plan where they almost get eaten by sharks, and Marco almost dies, and that's where we get kind of our rule set about DNA and morphing back and forth and how you can like repair the body. But then they actually make it out there based on the whale's directions, the great one's directions, and they find the dome ship at the bottom of the ocean. They find Aximili Escaroth Eastil, our boy. And they get him. They go to escape. They're about to be taken by a Madrut, I believe is the name of the creature that Visor 3 has morphed because he's been chasing them. And this thing can fire off like 10 water cannons to travel. So it's just tireless, where they are exhausted in their dolphin and shark morph. And they decide to stand and fight. And then the whales come and save them. And that's kind of that Cassie's arc in this, is that she finds out that the Yeerks will also destroy all of the Earth's flora and fauna. And that gives her reason to fight. Oh. All right, Emily, you're up first again.
Okay. So I'll say maybe the one controversial thing that I'll have about these first 5 books. I was really expecting Cassie to be a favorite for me. And I liked her a ton in this book. But I still, even going back to it, I still liked Rachel more, which was unexpected. I don't know. I had something where I was just like, because it's how you always do when you read books, like trying to find things that relate to you and everything. I was like, oh no, Rachel still hits more for me than Cassie did. Did not in any way diminish my enjoyment of the book, but it was just surprising, because I was like, oh, this feels more like the character that I probably would have been. Which was very fun. But no, I liked that. Again, I like that every kid feels different. I like that she does not have the same confidence, that she is very much in second guess mode of herself and doesn't want to be the one who says this should be the plan. And I don't think it's just from a consequences in, I don't want things to go wrong, obviously, but there is that lack of certainty in herself. And I think that's really well played out. And it never diminishes her ability to feel strong in the book or as competent as any of the other kids. So I really liked that. And I like that consistently to this point, she has been so much heart of the group, in kind of just you need the mom of the group who kind of just brings everybody together and be like, okay, stop. It's fine. We're going to be fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. I was unprepared for how much the whale stuff was gonna hit me. That one I was
Bro.
whale stuff really got me. I had a lot of feels about that. Yeah, I genuinely impressed throughout the whole of the series thus far is just the way that each morph is described and the language that's used. Like, it feels so tactile. It feel like, as someone who is constantly getting images in my head from the descriptors in a book, like, it is giving me, like, I am so I think it's why I like kids books so much, is because they give my artist brain so much to work with and so much like imagery and everything. And then I also, selfishly, I have all of the beautiful art that Kaycie has done to supplement all of that. So I'm just like, this is the best of both worlds. But I love the way they talked about the sharks. I love the way they talked about the dolphins. I loved the conflict over this being one of the first morphs of a higher intelligence level animal, and that oh, I'm sorry, are we just going to casually like have a moment where we liken ourselves to how are we different from the Yerks and them taking over people, and grapple with the reality of that? Yeah, sure, but it's fine. Let's go be dolphins. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So this one I felt like took me through a lot more all over the place with everything that they talked about. Also, and I know it didn't happen in this book, but I burst out laughing. I think it must have been in book 1 when they did the line of, "Oh yeah, meds equals medicine." And I was like, "Wait, I know this. This is the thing. I know this one."
Yeah.
And I found that way funnier than I should have. I was like, I know this joke.
I love that we have like pre-spoiled jokes for you.
That's really good.
Makes
That
me
was
so
really good.
happy.
Yeah. No, I was very delighted by that.
Oh shit.
So good. So good. All right, Kaycie, go.
Okay, so obviously I love this book mostly because my favorite character, Aximili Escaroth, it still makes his debut. But what you said about Cassie being like someone you'd most relate to, but she's not your favorite character, honestly, same. Like, I don't love Cassie in the same way that I love some of the other characters. Like, I don't get as much enjoyment out of reading Cassie's perspective, but I do feel that love for her in a different way. It's like, oh, like, you're kind of like me. Like, you're kind of like, what I would have been in this situation. And I love her for that reason and for like who she is. But she's not as like humorous as, some of the other, like, and she doesn't like hit me in a way that's like, oh, this is a different experience that I can experience like safely secondhand. It's like, oh, no, you're like a little me. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I love this book. I also love the whale stuff. I think the first time we recorded this, I was like, that fucking bitch, she got to swim with whales. I hate this. I'm quitting. Because like, I have always loved whales so much. Like, I've always felt like this connection with whales. Like, I always have dreams about whales and stuff like that. And like, Emily, I have a book you should read. It's called Whale Fall. Jenna and Alex know. But just the whales coming at the end and like helping to fight off the Madrat, like, I kind of feel like that's like a real thing that happens. Like, whales come and like defend other whales and like they look out for each other, and that's so cool. And I don't know if we knew that back then, but like the way that a lot of the animal facts and stuff are like blended into these books, that's just another example that I hadn't thought of until this read around. So I like it. I like whales.
Jenna, tell me everything.
Tell you everything. Okay, so when I was a little kid, I was so excited to get this book because I was like, fuck yeah, it's got dolphins on the cover. I was a huge marine biology nerd when I was a kid. Like that was it for me. That's all I wanted to do for the rest of my life forever. I don't know what happened there. Life finds a way to screw you.
Hmm.
But as soon as I read this book, I was like, this is bullshit. They just want to play as dolphins. They don't want to tell me any fucking cool ocean facts. What the hell is this? And I was so mad. Like, I was so mad when I was a little kid reading this that I just was like, I guess I hate Cassie. I guess I hate her.
What a stance.
But I mean, that was within the first 5 books, right? But I actually love Cassie very much. I feel like Cassie is the person who I would be best friends with, less than like be myself, you know? I always saw myself when I was a kid as like a Rachel, and now I'm like, I'm fully like mostly Marco with a little bit of Rachel. I'm that dumbass.
That we
Oh
all love.
man. Oh, thank you for loving my dumbass. But yeah, I don't know. I will just randomly think about them falling asleep on the back of a whale on a ride home. And I'm just like, I want to do that. I
Mhm.
want to do that though.
That's all I want.
That's all I want.
Genuinely, it sounds delightful.
Every time I see videos of like paddle boarders experiencing whales up close, first of all, that's terrifying. Second of all, I want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rage I feel when kayakers go and orcas swim right past them, I'm like, I would
Why?
straight
Why
up
is that
punch
not
you in
me?
the face. Should be me.
Yep. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. This was another one of my first book. Like horses, dolphins, like I picked up all of the Cassie books first in my life, which makes sense. And like I feel like there's a lot of different like avenues that people find me in my life, and I feel like there's a very certain like group of people that like I did bird rehab for many years. I worked in a rehab center. I very much followed like a Cassie path for a while in my life. And then I feel like when people like when we get to the Animorphs conversation and it's like, who's your favorite, Rachel? They're like, why? You're Cassie, basically.
Cassie,
And I'm like,
clearly.
well, well, if you want to dig in a little further, actually, no. But it's just really like I adore Cassie. And like when we first read the series, I ruined Casey's life with this. Like I will not forgive Cassie, blah, blah, blah. And Casey's like, what could you fucking possibly be talking about for 40 goddamn books? And like, I think she was ready to kill me by the end of it. And then the worst thing ever happened, which was by the time we got there, Kaycie got no payoff because I was like, hey, reading this as an adult, I understand that I was wrong. And like, I need to, like, I was wrong. Okay. She did a brave and acceptable thing that I misunderstood because I was a child and I thought the world was a lot more black and white than it actually is actually. So I adore Cassie so much. And like Kaycie, you were saying something else too about like how you really kind of relate to like some of the things that like how she is, like you think that would be kind of somewhat how you are in that situation. And like yes and no, right? But there are times where like you will come to me and be like, hey, just so you know, I think you should maybe take a second to like fucking check in with yourself and see if this is a good or bad thing. And I'm like, you really are being the Cassie to me right now.
Oh no.
Hey man, you're being a little fucking intense, and I think you can dial it back a hair.
Oh dear. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh no.
I like it.
Okay. Do
I
you?
do too.
Yes. I mean, I'm mad at it in the moment because you're right, and I don't want you to be right. I want to do what I want to do, but still.
Oh no.
You know what,
That's
Kaycie? You
my
do always
problem.
kind of have like the thing to say whenever somebody doesn't feel quite great. Like you do always say the thing that makes people feel better.
What? What? I don't. What?
You very much have that talent, like
Yeah.
to be able to like navigate that in a really good way.
Yeah.
I literally don't know anything. If something happens, I'm just like, look over there. Well, you guys are amazing and nice, and I love you, and I want y'all to be okay and happy as much as humanly possible, and this world makes it very hard to do that sometimes, and I just want you guys to be good and fine.
I think that's the big part of it, though, because there is absolutely that whole heart and compassion that comes from it. But there is the way to still speak in a way that cuts through, the blind rage and blinders that we have on when we're barreling towards something that we should not be doing. And so it's you're going to say the thing that is actually going to, stop the mindless attack and give that, at first I'm going to be pissed and then I'm going to be like, oh no, she's really right. She's right about that. But it all comes from a place. It's never a, neener, I told you. It is all from a place of, I love you and I want you to be okay. And don't be a dumbass. And that's every friend group needs that. You need people who care for you that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then like we're driving and then Tim's like, where do I park? And I point at the thing that says parking and then Tim's like, oh wow, Kaycie just called me a dumbass or some other shit. And I'm just like
Okay, but again, I think if we've learned anything from Cassie, it's that in the moments that matter, you are there. And in the moments where you ask where the parking garage is and there's a 40-foot tall sign that says parking right in front of you, you're allowed to be like, hey, you fucking dumbass.
It was right
It's
there.
that one.
I was gonna say,
The whole
literally
time.
from his own mouth, Kaycie gentle parents me a lot, and it is exactly that. It is, it's there. It's there. You got this.
You got this so good.
You can do it.
ridiculous.
It's so good. The parking thing was brutal. Yeah, Tim. Well, it was 40 fucking feet tall, so. All right, you guys ready to get to book 5?
I have one thing to complain about though. Just last one. Okay, listen to the audiobooks for this one. The narrator chose a voice for Axe that was very like, well, actually, this thing, blah blah blah, and she made him like very nasally and like that kind of voice. I was like, but I mean, yeah, he could kind of be like that, but also like, shut up.
I'm fine with nasally. Please take off the fedora though.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't think Cassie sees Axe that way. Like, I don't know.
No.
Anyway, I disagreed, but it's fine.
I
That's
liked
all.
him. He was very fun. That was very exciting.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
My little boy.
No, very, very sweet. And it very much fits with how the series is going. Like, it would be weird if all of a sudden it was, a fully grown, full warrior and the light. Like, it wouldn't mesh. So the fact that he is also a kid, I was like, yeah, no, this is YA book logic, and I fucking love it. Yep. I have no notes. Of course he's a kid. Of course he has to also figure this stuff out and make mistakes that kids would make. Because, that's yeah.
Take off the fedora. I love that.
Okay, so can I say one thing? And it was especially with this book, because my brain won't stop. One, I've been spending a whole bunch of time trying to pinpoint down like exactly how old they are. And two, throughout all of this book, when they're in the ocean, I'm like, where are they? Where are they? And when they talk about other stuff, I'm like, I'm looking at certain like animals that live in this region, and like, you haven't mentioned the weather, but this, and I'm just like, it's not the point. It's not the point, Emily. They're probably going to tell you, but it's not the point. But I'm just like, no, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it a lot.
This is a game I'm very familiar with. As a first-time reader, when this first time around, I was like, Alex, I think they might be up here. Or maybe they're over here. Yes.
Are we gonna play Where Do You Think They Are every 5 books with Emily?
I kind of want to.
You can. I can tell you where I thought so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So initially, before the ocean was mentioned, I was thinking like Colorado, middle US. That felt very big, very national park, all of that. With like, a lot of the suburbia, but still close to a town and stuff like that. And then as more things went, I'm in between, either like far up northeast, like Vermont, even up to Maine, or whole other side and over in like Washington and maybe northern California. So that's where I'm living right now. So yeah, they haven't been apologetic enough, so I don't think it's Canada.
Oh,
I will say that like reading, because like when I read these, I lived in Canada. I was Canadian, and like there was so much that would happen where like I feel like so many kids were way, way, way smarter than me because they're like, yeah, I read this in Canada, and I was like, oh, well, it has to be this because of this. I just in my mind, I'm like, they marketed this to me, a Canadian. It must be in Canada. It must
Gotta
be.
be.
They sold
be
the book to
Canada.
me in the country of Canada.
It says how much it is in Canadian dollars on the
Right
cover.
there on the cover.
all the TV's made in Canada. Why not all the books?
Yeah.
That's you know what? You know where they filmed the TV show?
Mm-hmm.
Canada.
Mhm.
How about that?
So along those lines, though, something I really enjoy, aside from the fact that the mall plays a fairly, I don't say big role, but is an important part of it.
It's a character.
It is, and I like that. Other than that, there isn't really a feeling of a specific time or place that this is tied to. Now, obviously, because of the world we live in, there are no cell phones. So it's a very easy, like, I'm pretty sure I can say what date it's, not after, but it's not an important part of the story. And I really, really like that. Like it has that wonderful timeless feel to it where you can kind of just exist and like, oh no, they don't have an easy way to communicate with each other if they're not together. And that's perfect. Okay. Oh, one other thing, I was going through all of my notes and I can't remember which book I had this thought, and I almost want to say it was maybe between 2 and 3, where my like video game brain was just like, but why wouldn't each kid grab each morph? Like the fact that only one kid was grabbing one animal, I was just like, what are you idiots doing? Like touch everything, like go and get
100%.
everybody. What do you do?
Okay. Yes. First of all, yes. Yes, absolutely. Second of all, now having done this game with other people, I have those moments of that's my morph. You can't have that. That one's me.
Yeah.
Which is really like
Yeah.
immature and like I would not act on it, but I do have those moments.
No, but it also feels very like kid, like taking ownership of it. Like, no, Rachel took the elephant morph and that's her morph. Like, I get it. But it was a funny thing where I'm just like, you were both there. Why did only one of you take this? I was like, you're going to be traveling together. Wouldn't you think that maybe having the same animal, but that's also, my playing through a video game and adult brain.
It's perfectly logical.
But you could also go with like, okay, you need like a ranger type. You need, a barbarian.
They're building their D&D party. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I did like, and again, because I was taking notes, but also reading so fast, I don't remember which book it was, but there was someone who made the comment of, I wonder if there is a max number of morphs that you can have. And I was like, this is an exciting, like, it doesn't really get a lot of more time spent on it and they keep collecting them. So to this point of what I know, it is not true yet, but it was a valuable, like, oh man, how weird would it be to like, oh, oops, you only get 10 and you spent 5 of them getting, 3 different types of this animal. And now, you have no room for an aquatic one. Like,
Can I tell you how fast I would like find the limit if it existed? It would be within a day.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Genuinely.
yeah.
I've got 30 dogs.
I met today.
I met so many dogs.
Intentionally, I went to the dog park.
Yeah. Yep. No, every bird at, Cassie's parents' rescue, all of the animals there, like, no, I would touched everything.
There is kind of an interesting in the theme of that later in the series. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. It's a very fun thing. And it's why I'm happy we're doing them in chunks to then discuss it of things that jump out, because I am already so impressed with some of the groundwork that is being laid and even little things that are being paid off. So yeah. We've just scratched the surface.
We have. And like again, reading book 1, I say this every time we do it, but like I forget how much even throwaway stuff is brought back up from book 1, like way late in the series.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah. Also, just
All
as
right.
a like, I'm sorry, I got one more.
No,
Apparently,
go.
this one
No,
had a lot in it. I do like that Aximili can keep time for the morphs.
Oh
Oh my god, yes. So
Yeah.
helpful.
It's
Yeah.
I appreciated for 3.5 books. You had that as a very perpetual stress and thing you had to be so on top of. And the stress hasn't really gone away, but now that one little thing, now you can kind of focus on other stuff. And it's still there, it's
Mhm.
still a concern. But yeah, that was just a nice, I like that as an evolution.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like
it
when
makes
you
sense
get
that they would be able to do it.
yeah.
Kaycie, what were you gonna say?
It's like unlocking an item in a video game that makes your life a lot easier, like the ladder in Animal Crossing or
Yeah.
something. Like
Fucking ladder.
Okay, so funny enough, and one of my Animal Crossing villagers yelled at me about it because I had just listened to a podcast that was talking about Animal Crossing. I'm like, man, I miss it. And I turned it on. I went to my island, and the one's like, it's been a year and 5 months. Where have you been? I'm like, hi. Okay.
I've been here the whole time.
It's fine. You're fine. You're fine. Look at you're fine.
You
You're not even having
existed
to leave.
without me. Things didn't go Lord of the Flies. Calm down.
You're good. You're all good.
There's some weeds and bugs, but you know.
It's good.
Oh,
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Book 5.
Oh no.
Okay, book 5. Let's do it. Let's do it because I know people are so excited about book 5 because it's the introduction of Marco, beloved character Marco.
Precious
So
baby.
it's precious little babe. We immediately get into Marco's very conflicted brain because he does not want to be doing this, and he has so many reasons not to. Like, we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of his mom's death, and he's thinking about how if his dad loses him, he's so bad off from the mom already. He lost his job, blah blah blah. He's very concerned about that. But he does agree to go on like one last mission because they're going to try to get Aximili back to his homeworld so he can bring the Andalites to Earth sooner. So they go, they have to do, this is the ant book, by the way, famously horrifying, traumatic ant book. So we've made it to the ant book. That's how they get into Chapman's basement to take the Z-Space transponder, which is how Aximili can call a bug fighter. So then he can steal that, get to the Andalite homeworld. So they do that first mission. We have the horrific ants thing. So Marco goes, okay, this is my very last one, is getting Aximili off the planet. And then I'm out. I can't take it anymore. Immediately Aximili fucks up because he does that kid thing of like, I know the code, and then like doesn't think of like any of the admin sort of that happens around it, which I totally get. But he calls the bug fighter down. They get taken because he uses an old code. They go up, and then we start finding out about the fight between Visor 3 and Visor 1. And then we find out that Visor 1 is Marco's mom, and we get that dropped on us. And now Marco cannot get out of the fight because his mom is alive and she is a Visor. So, ugh. All right, Jenna, go.
Yeah. Hey, for anybody who hasn't been watching D&DB or listening to it, Austin will conveniently like just put a colony of ants near us just in case. Just in case anybody's thinking about it.
Never worked.
And it's like,
Never worked
Bitch.
once, asshole.
get out. We're not doing it. Go away. Nobody wants to be an ant. It's
Oh my
terrifying. That's
God.
like I don't want to metagame, but also
I think you're allowed this one time.
I think ants are the exception. Like,
Yeah.
no.
like I'm fascinated by bugs and ants in general. Like I love it. Just I can't imagine just thinking of a swarm of ants. No, absolutely not. No. But anyway, yeah, Marco, my precious baby boy. I love him so much. He has always been definitely, he was my number 2. Now he's my number 1 since reading them as an adult. I just love him so much. And he's thinking about this logically. He's the only one who's going, I know that shit is bad. Shit is very bad. Shit is going to be worse. We need to think about this. And the whole time people are like, yeah, but we don't have time to think. So let's just. And he's just, I just love him. I just love him so much.
All right, Kaycie.
Well, first of all, rest in peace, Marco's Groceries.
Oh, that milk. Hey, this is how we know it's not in Canada, Alex. That milk wasn't in a bag.
That's
Milk wasn't
true.
in a bag.
That's true.
Oh my god. Okay. I will. Oh my god. Maria.
Dr. Maria's in the
Yes,
chat.
Dr.
Fuck
Maria's
yeah.
in the chat. Hell yeah. Okay. So Emily, back in the day when we were recording Animorphs Anonymous, back when we were children and so much younger, Kaycie had a full-on crying meltdown over the thought of Marco's groceries being left behind, and we have
hate
never
it.
let her live it down. Like
Oh,
sobbing
no.
on pod, sobbing
Listen,
about the groceries.
I have never liked it in like a show or a book where someone has bought food and then they have to drop it for some reason. I fucking hate it. It's such a waste. I already hate buying food because I hate like the impermanence of it, even though it's like necessary to survive, blah blah blah. But like, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Especially since we already know that him and his dad are in a bad spot financially. Like,
Right.
that's terrifying.
You don't have the extra money to
Yeah.
not have your groceries. No, Kaycie, that makes me so happy because I'm also that person. Like if someone even on TV shows and stuff where they'll just like casually like leave the fridge door open or something and they won't address it. I'm like, I can't let it go. Like the scene will have moved on. I'm like, but did they close the fridge door? And whoever I'm watching with is like,
When
yeah,
the
they
fridge
closed it.
door
I was like, but did they?
I need visual confirmation now.
Like
The rules
I-
are if it happens off screen, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I was like, no, I
That
need to
counts.
know, like, this stuff was okay. This thing that you left hanging, that's not a thing to anybody else. I need resolution on this. Thank you.
Oh my god.
So I am with you on
Thank you.
that
Thank you.
completely.
Oh my god. It's peanut M&Ms. No, but Marco's another one that like first read through I was like, I like him a lot, but now as in the second read through as an adult, I'm like, I love you and I want you to be okay. Like they're all going through shit. They all have like a major thing in their life. Maybe not Cassie so much. That's like this is like a tragedy in their life, but his is so like his is so fucking bad. His is like Tobias's is terrible. It's like, okay, like I have to deal with like a sense of identity and stuff. His is literally like I have to potentially go against my mom. And like you see, I'm same with Jake too. It's like I have to potentially go against my brother, but it's, you know, at that added thing of like my mom was gone, then she was back, but she's not really back. Like it's so fucking tragic. It's so awful. And and he's the worst character. I mean, he's the best character, but the worst character to be logical. It's the biggest foil and I hate it. And oh no.
Plus having, you know, his dad clearly going through all of it and having another adult who is, I don't want to say failing him because that sounds cruel, but an adult who broke down and who isn't surviving and therefore is not taking care of his kid. Like, you know, like you were saying with Tobias, who already had a very unsteady living situation. Like Marco's very clearly close to his dad.
Yeah.
And like this has damaged that. And no, it works so well as a plot point, but I feel like this especially did it really well with the establishing like the inability to seek out and have safety in adults, whether they are emotionally damaged themselves or they are controllers. Like, and I, as you were saying that, just flashing back to the first book where they go and they find the Yerk pool and that all goes so sideways and they're unable to save these other people and all of that. Like the fact that he has tried to like, I'll say not been very subtle about his desire to not do this stuff because it's insane and be the voice of like, yeah, but we keep losing or at least coming really close to losing and almost dying, which is bad, guys. Like, oh, no. Poor boy.
Fuck.
It's yeah. It's so rough. And also I was really cracking up. Dr. Maria said happy Mother's Day, Ava, in the chat, which is Marco's mom.
Oh
Which
no.
I enjoyed the timing of that.
Nice.
Yeah. But like, oh my God, that's so right though. Like it's just Oh my God. I can't imagine. He's taking on the responsibility. Like, I know Jake literally has the weight of the world on his shoulders, but like Marco being like the super logical, like just like A to B point guy having to take on the emotional weight of the world is incredible. Incredible. Emily, I'm going to call you out though, because I didn't ask you what you thought. You talked a lot about the book, and I'm glad, but I want to hear more. Tell me more of your thoughts on this book.
Absolutely. No, I really liked it. I enjoyed Marco being the smart ass to this point before getting to kind of be in his head in it. If we're ranking them, I would have said he was probably my least favorite, just because I personally struggle with that type of dynamic of somebody who is always like making jokes about stuff and kind of like picking at the other people. Uh-oh.
I gotta go, Emily. Sorry.
So in this, it's also I will say I was very much taking at, trying to think about how I would have felt as a kid. And I didn't know how to deal with that as a kid because it always felt like a personal attack on me. So it was fun in the other books because it was a little bit removed and you had the other characters vouch for him. So even though, like, yeah, he might have been an asshole, but like he was never a bad guy. So to then have this full reveal and this full insight and perspective into his thought process on stuff and the way that he thinks through and approaches these situations, it's the beautiful thing about getting to know adults who are like this, but also being an adult yourself and being able to understand that the face that somebody is putting out to the world might not be the exact reflection of who they are as a person, and that a lot of people are using these as coping mechanisms and using these things as deflection so that you don't see the insecurities and the worry and the stress and a life that maybe they're not proud of or comfortable in. And so like I thought that was I really like that for the character he is. I liked that he was the last focused on book that we got. It felt deserved. It felt weighty. It felt like, oh no, you finally get to this character's thoughts and you get to know them even better, having only seen this one side or one or two sides of them up until that point. No, it was really, really good. Yeah, ants. No. No.
No.
I thought the dolphin and shark attack was going to be rough, but just the claustrophobia and the stress of all of that. And I really, really genuinely enjoy the way that they describe the way that the animals feel to them and how the shrew was so stressful for Rachel, how the lizard was so stressful for Jake, how, it is such a different way of absorbing information that it is hard for the human processing part of the brain to really reconcile with. And yeah, the ants I didn't like it as a plan to begin with. And I was like, nope, I don't like any of this. I was very much with Marco on this one. I was like, I would super like to not be doing this right now. Thanks so much. Yeah, I think as we talked about before about the just collecting all the different morphs as a fun thing, I am genuinely delighted and enjoying it from the book side of it in the morphs that they have been forced to get. Because it's not all, it's not all the tiger and the elephant and the really cool shit. It is these other utilitarian things that they have to do in order to solve problems that in their own way give them so much more stress and often so many more problems. And it's so good.
I have a question for the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, go, Jenna. You first.
No. I want your question.
Okay. If y'all had to plan that mission without using ants, what do you think they could have done?
I think we'd have to ask Tim for that. It's a y'all joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I brought it here. I'm sorry.
I just realized what I said. Oh no. In my mind, I've taken Hork-Bajir Chronicles and I've put it in a beautiful box and closed.
I have put it in a lovely urn that now sits on my mantle.
Oh no.
And that's where that lives. Thank
Oh,
you,
no.
Austin. Thank you.
Oh,
It's just
no.
one of those really beautiful little commemorative boxes with a little paw print on top of it that they
Oh,
didn't use that.
no.
That's what that is
box.
for me. Thank you, Austin. It's fine.
Oh.
It's fine. I love the pain. Okay, so if it wasn't ants,
If not ants.
I
Man,
mean,
that's a
the-
tough
The
one.
mission is just to get to the basement that is secured and to get the Z space transponders. So, like,
Right.
if you're going to break down that mission, what you need is something to get in, something that can carry that
Yeah.
transponder and to get out. You don't need ants for that. I mean, think about how often like chipmunks fall into the little
Oh,
things
yeah.
and like get into the basement. Like you could
Mhm.
do a rodent, honestly, would be
Mhm.
smarter.
I was
Going in
thinking
at night,
a bat
Mhm.
because of
Bat
their
would be
same
good.
like ability, and then flight. I'm a big fan of flight.
Yeah, but you also don't have to do one single morph. You could do
Right.
two because they got in demorphed and then remorphed, right?
Yeah.
So I
you
think
could-
getting in definitely as a rodent is a good idea.
Yep. Anything like that, rodent, Songheart said roaches. I mean, anything at all like that you can sneak in. And just like do it at night, dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it
I
at
did love
night.
that they super poo-pooed on the roaches. They're just like, absolutely not. Like that's where we draw the line. I was like,
It's so funny.
you know what? That's okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
That was some sass for later.
That was so sassy, Kaycie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yes, don't forget Fluffer. Fluffer McKitty too. Like that was a genius morph to get in there. Why not go Fluffer, get the transponder and get out? Like it's not like Fluffer went away.
Right.
I mean,
But he's super suspicious of Fluffer now.
yeah, but he doesn't have to be home.
Yeah.
Right. Like this was one where they didn't need it during the time when he was going to be communicating. So
Right.
Mhm.
They could have waited until, because they knew the time, they could have waited until after he was done with that. And then there's no reason for him to go back in the basement. So,
But it's also like
Mhm.
like what Emily, what you were saying earlier, where like this is the kid brain of like, okay, but the only time we have to do this mission is Saturday because I don't have basketball and I don't have homework
Right.
and like
I have
that
all these things that my
contributes
parents make me do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It contributes so much to these missions and to what the choices that they make. Like I think 4 books now I've heard them say like, "Hey, we can't do this until Saturday because, I don't think I can get there in this amount of time, which is what I have after school and after like this club I'm in or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And too, it's great if we do it during school when he's going to be there as the assistant principal. Yeah, but we're also supposed to be at school, and that they keep bringing up, they can't all be missing at the same time. They can't spend a ton of time with each other. Like all of these things are just like, no, there is genuine logic in that.
There is.
Mhm.
There is. Jenna, do you remember the thought that you were going to say earlier?
I do remember my THOT.
Okay.
It's that this book, like the first 4 books up to this, have done such a great job of like showing Marco being this snarky little asshole kid, right? Like just popping off at the mouth and saying what you think is the first thing that comes to his mind whenever anybody says anything or looks at him the wrong way, right? But this book does such a great job of showing the anxiety behind all of those thoughts. Like I have
Mhm.
already thought this through. I've already seen every way that this can go wrong. You're a crazy person for wanting to do this. And I don't know. I really loved how they started seeding that anxiety.
Mhm. That's
I-
a really good point.
I really enjoyed him in this book. I just as I say voice of reason, be like, yeah, no, I know it's important, but also I would really love not to die. Like you guys seem remarkably comfortable with this. Like it's not great. Ugh, no.
Yeah.
I did really, really enjoy just because it felt so. These are in this moment. It felt such like a D&D moment. But when they're in the cafeteria and
Yes.
Rachel loses her shit on Jessica, which I'm just like, oh, it's the most of the time names. I love it. And his whole solution to this is be like, I'm sorry They're both madly in love with me. And I was like, oh, I really like you.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is all my fault. It's
What was I to do?
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
so good.
It was so funny, so good. Just
Oh.
and it again, it's this beautiful balance of this incredibly traumatic thing that I just read and experienced and like had visceral reactions to, and the very understandable reactions of the characters to it, and the lack of sleep and the stress and all of that. And then to just have this moment of like, no, I get it. I get it. This at the end of the day, it's
Can't keep your
still,
hands off me.
they can't help them.
I love that was such a double whammy of like getting Rachel out of trouble and also like cheering her up a little bit. Like that was just a really nice Marco Rachel moment. It's for you Marchelko fans in the chat.
Yeah.
Wink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, all right, this is these are and I try and separate them as like how I would have reacted as a kid and how I'd react as an adult. And this is this whole scene was a very like I had a lot of conflicting emotions with it. So from my comedy side, I loved the wacky hijinks of the mall and going to Radio Shack. But I'm pretty sure even as a kid and much as an adult, I was just like, this is stressful. We are trying to do this thing. Stop wandering off. What are you doing? Just stop it. Stop it. It doesn't have to be this way. Now everybody's seeing you. And like, I'm stressed about it. But also, this is really funny and he's adorable. And it's just,
Fucking Axe.
I was like, come on, bud. Yeah. I was going
All
for
right.
it in that scene.
So I feel like we kind of got the flavor. Like I think an idea of this from our chats, but Emily, who are your favorite characters at this moment? Like what are you thinking of everybody?
So in the main six, I like them all. I genuinely enjoy them. That for any initial feelings I had about them, like I enjoy them as a unit. I really like them. Rachel is still very much a standout for me. I am curious about Jake because he is still such a blank slate in this. I'm very excited also just because of now the play that him and Marco only know about Marco's mom, and that connection, like that huge bit, like that's that's all really good. I'll say probably, I guess, then the least of it is like Axe stresses me out at this point. I am stressed for the kids because of him. So he's probably lower on the tier just because I'm just like,
That's fair. He's a demon.
yeah, like, buddy, we were doing really well. I know it's only 2 legs and all, but we were really doing pretty darn well. Yeah, but I'm also curious. I'm curious to see the Cassie Jake stuff, which I think is cute. Yeah, man, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot. Also, and I was gonna try and look it up and I couldn't find it. There's an actress who I got in a picture in my brain for his mom for Visser 1, and I will have to try and find it and pull it up for that. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to possibly get more information about some of the upper level Yerks. And this is the other part of having read Hork-Bajir Chronicles. I very much enjoyed getting the perspective from the Yerks and get it, like, hate them. Like, didn't make me like them or have any sympathy for them, but it was an interesting, like, I liked seeing that part of it. So there's part of me that's very much like, I want that. So mostly just so I can hate them more. Just give me more of that. I already hate them, but I'd like to hate them more. Please and thank you. I think that answered the question. Kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it so much.
Is the actor you're
Stressed.
thinking about for Marco's mom, is it a current or like 90s?
Ugh.
Ooh.
It would have definitely been her in her younger years, and the problem is like I can see her and I can hear her voice, but I can't place what that thing is from, and it's not an actress that I know like super
Mhm.
off the top of my head. So yeah,
Because I need Erica Chera. I need them to do it now, and I need it to be Erica Chera so bad.
Okay, and we would
It's
know
Joe
her.
from Eureka.
Oh, that doesn't help me either.
Okay. The 100.
I've never seen Media.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the less in the cultural zeitgeist members of this podcast.
No.
Ooh, this is the quiz, isn't it?
I
This is
run
the
the
This is the quiz. It's happening to us.
I knew it.
Aha.
Jenna, I don't know. I fail at this
I
trivia
bring the
every
quiz
time.
to you. That's okay. We can look her up later.
Jenna, Kaycie, should we all show our hand of our favorite characters and admit that to
I think
the
I've already
listeners
done
right
it.
now? I feel like we all have, but like
Yeah.
should we really black and white state it for the listeners?
Yeah. Should we say who like isn't our favorites?
That's harder for
I
me.
can't. Yeah.
I mean, Jake is attracted to his cousin, so
Oh my god. Thank you. So
Yeah.
having done absolute shameless plug, because we did Surprise Attack Book Club and we read a book series that I really loved that spent a whole bunch of time with some weird sibling shit. The fact that in book 1 is like, she's very pretty, but she's my cousin. I'm just like, are we fucking doing this again? Are you kidding?
yeah, yeah, we are.
Like it.
Yeah, we are.
Stop it.
Nobody likes that. Take it out.
Nope. Hate
Oh,
it.
man.
Hate it.
Mm-mm.
They are all somewhat my favorites. And cousin hotness levels aside, I've
Got Jenna while she's drinking.
Mm-mm. We will not put those aside.
I mean, just for one moment, just to talk about the whole like thing, I have come to respect Jake so much more, having to make some sort of like in a game, but like having to make some more decisions like that. I like Jake a lot more now, I think. But I like them like it's Rachel way up there. And then like for me, it's like Tobias is like right after that. But then it's like everybody's like all right there in my rankings.
Yeah. It's definitely Marco Rachel. Like, so they kind of go back and forth. And then Tobias. Absolutely. And then Cassie. And then Jake is down here with people who find their cousins attractive.
People that like their cousins. Yeah.
Yeah. Including the lead chick from Fallout. It's fine. They're on there.
She like her cousin. I'm not. Never mind. I don't need to know about Fallout. I've never seen a Fallout. It's fine.
I've never seen it.
In episode 1, they're just like, just funny. Anyway, in episode 1, she says something about how it's okay. We all do stuff with our cousin when we're just learning.
Whoa.
Yeah, but
They're
that's
in a vault.
because there's like 12 of them, right?
Right. Exactly.
And they're all cousins.
Yeah.
I'm not
They're in a
making
vault.
excuses. I feel like I'm being really cousin
No.
apologist
No,
right
it's
now, and I'm not into
You're
that.
already a chia puff.
It's Fallout.
How dare you, Kaycie?
I am so excited for that to make
Can't
sense
wait.
to me.
I can't wait.
Okay, so
Oh
meds
my
or
God.
medicine, what else has made sense to you now that you're here?
Yeah.
So I will say the Dracon beams and being Dungeons and Dracon beams was made aware to me in
Ooh.
reading Hork-Bajir. That was fun. I'm trying to think of other stuff. That was the big one, just because it was such a specific, like, it's a one-line throwaway, but it was such a like ongoing joke. I think little bits about Axe, and a lot of the Kaycie artwork makes a lot more sense now. That's nice. I'm trying to think other big. I didn't have any other big like drops just yet. Any different
We'll get
from
there.
Hork-Bajir till now? Yeah. which is okay. Again, there was plenty of information. I was not want for information.
And then I know your sister kindly prepped you for the Casu's K screw ups of the one time that Jake talks out of morph and then they retcon it. In book 3, somebody is said to be a bird of prey that they are not. They don't have the morph, and then they retconned that. The scratches from the cat after Tobias morphs back from dude to himself. Like, so you've already gotten like the crash course in the screw ups, I think, from your sister. So we don't have to tell you.
Yeah. No, it was very, very cute. I liked, and I'm so excited because, like I said, so my sister is 10 years younger than me. So she grew up reading these. She's read them all many, many times. She has collected all of them and in many different versions and all like has pristine ones, which I was so happy that she gave me the library, we'll say, the junk versions of them. I was like, no, it's good because then I'm not worried about ruining your nice copies. But it was very funny to me that was an initial, like, she's like, okay, did they warn you about this? And I was like, one, I love that you think that I was going to notice that so much with all this new world information that I was being presented with. But yes, thank you. I will keep in mind that was a whoopsie and not to be unhappy that was a mistake that was made. Yeah.
I love that so much. I love that she was like, hang on. Did your friends tell you? As if we prepared you for a single moment of
For
anything.
anything.
That happened.
Yeah.
No.
Up to and including playing in the world.
Oh my God. That's been the funniest thing about all of this for me. And, especially with the connection of the Hork-Bajir, with the way that Austin ran our whole game, like it is like having all of this backstory and history already. And now having to learn this whole new thing that like these people don't even know. Like you don't even know all this stuff that happened. And I just need you to know. And
you feel like you have one up on the characters that lived it.
On this one thing.
I love it.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay. Now I'm going to make you guys all do the big takeaways. What do we take away from what we just read? What are we expecting coming up? Who am I going to make go first? How cruel shall I be? Emily, you had notes. I'll make you go first.
I had notes. I did. Wait, what am I asking or answering again? Do that again.
What are the big takeaway? Like, what are some things that really resonated with you and that you really enjoyed, didn't enjoy, are thinking about, and what do you expect to find coming up?
Okay, so genuinely enjoyed. These are just a really fun read. Not only do they read really easily, but they're fun. They're immersive. They're fun. And even though as I mentioned multiple times, I read them very fast in one chunk, I still felt like moments had a lot of weight to them. And I was excited. Like it was a very fun thing that I knew that I got to read a whole nother book after one had its own conclusion. I like that each of them is self-contained, but also still moves the story forward. I like that there's a very predictable setup of introduction to the story, figure out the new lower stake stuff that we're going to deal with and then ramp up to something really severe, which boy, did they just increase in severity in those 5 books. Holy shit. So no, now I feel like now because each character has had their come to Visser moment, I guess. They've all had now their reasons why they can't walk away, even more so than just their initial connection to Elfangor. I feel like now there starts to put into a little bit more strategy in how they're going to go about stuff. I don't want to say that in a sense of there'll be a lot more success in said strategy, but I feel like previous to this point, it had all been very nicks and dents and how can we cause just enough damage so that somebody else can take over and help us with this. And I think now it is even more in their brains that there isn't anybody else. And now we just our new goal is we have to survive until the Andalite fleet gets here, and we have to really make workings towards that. So I am predicting that there's probably going to be a funny Axe goes to high school scene, that feels like something that will probably happen, and hijinks will ensue. Uh, yeah, I'm hoping we get to also have a little bit more interaction with family members that are controllers or adults who are controllers. And I don't know, there was part of my, I'm gonna blame D&D too, D&D brain where I was just like, okay, so what if you captured Tom and kept him, like, when you knew, so you know the date when he's supposed to go back to the Yerk pool, and you get him like the day before, and you keep him away so that the Yerk can't get back to the pool. And don't laugh like that.
Sorry.
But yeah, something like that. Like that was one of my solutions to this. But yeah, kind of there. I will say now with more information and now with a more clear goal, like how they're actually going to start to really start dealing more substantial blows to things.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get to read these with you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Also, I'm still just a baby deer in all of this, so I still have hope and optimism. So, like, no, we can still solve this. It'll be fine. I know it won't be fine, but it'll be fine. So, I'm very excited to be proven
no casualties.
so wrong. Just so wrong.
All right, Jenna, I'm gonna make you tell me next.
Oh my god. Okay, big takeaway is if you're attracted to your cousin, that's an inside thought. Wait, this was from his perspective.
This is an inside.
It wasn't
thought.
an inside thought, actually.
Inside thoughts.
He did.
Inside
He didn't say it out. He didn't say it out loud.
Did not
That's
say it
true.
out loud.
Huh. We should not be peeking on the inside thoughts of teenagers who may or may not be attracted to their cousins. There we go. That's the takeaway. I am very excited to get further into this series and read it all the way through because my last I haven't done a full reread since I was like a late teen, early 20s-ish person. So I cannot wait. Last time I got to book, I think 27 is the Bat book. Is that 27?
Somewhere in there,
17,
yeah.
right in there. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the last reread I did. And I need more beyond that. I can't wait.
Oh, I'm
can't
so
wait.
excited. I love this so much. I love
Oh
that
my
we've kidnapped you and forced you against your will to do this.
Oh no, how terrible.
Oh no,
And then it's like
Animorphs.
Audible had the sale for like $1 to $2 per book
Oh.
at the perfect time to do this. Oh, how terrible.
Just the worst.
I know.
Oh,
And
bad.
then the stars aligned.
Yup.
Kaycie.
I mean, I had this in my mind last autumn that I was going to reread, and I got, I don't know, not very far in, and I was like, oh man, this is really great. I'm kind of sad I have to read it by myself though, and then we organized this little mess, and I'm like, oh, I can resume and I can talk about it with people, and Swan can go through the same thing that I did when I first read them. And I am going to try the audiobooks as much as possible because it's just I've never listened to them before, and it's just a very different experience. And I'm so interested to see how differently I feel about things, because like 2018, that was so long ago, and like I'm old now, and I've changed a bunch in the years, and we've been through a panini, and we're still in a panini, and like how am I gonna feel about all this? And now that I'm much more jaded than I was back then. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just I feel slightly differently about characters now. Like, you know, like I already alluded to, like Marco and Jake and Rachel, just being like, oh my god, I love them. And now that I know like what they go through, and I see the seeds of it starting to be planted early in these books, it's like, oh, this is not how I felt about them first time around. So I'm interested to go through that. Baby, help them. You goddamn Andalites, get out here.
Get off your ass and get to our planet.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to like I'm just excited to like Emily for you to experience this all again because like I know it's almost like the podcast trope, right? At this point of like you find someone that's never read it, you take them through it. But like it's genuinely such a joy to like share this thing with somebody because it is so fun and like so intense and like I don't know. It's so much deeper than like so many other things that you can do and I love it so much and like I in particular Emily I obviously like vibe with you so much. Like the first time we met I think was like we just immediately saw each other. We're like, well, this is forever now.
No, we're just doing this. Yeah, no questions.
It's literally like we had played Questmaster once. We got into the same room and we're like, God. So like, I'm so genuinely excited to like share this thing with you and talk about it and get into it. And I'm like, I'm so delighted. And I'm so delighted to revisit these characters that I love so much. And like, I'm so pumped. I'm so glad we're doing this. And then Jenna, we've never gotten to do this like in a really like sort of structured way like this, which is amazing.
Yeah, no.
Dude, the amount of
and we-
D&D B plans that are going to come out of this.
It is so hard doing these rereads. Like, because, okay, if I can just talk for a second about like our characters, like, and just like focusing on Dylan for 1 second, which is Jenna's character. For anyone who doesn't know, Dungeons and Drake and Beams, a D&D Animorphs game that we play. So Jenna's introduced Dylan, and you've had to come into this like, oh man, Emily, you're not there yet, but there's like a lot of like chaos and preconceived notions about like the point where Dylan has kind of come in, and like I adore how much of your character that like you can take the snippets of everybody and make something new. And like I'll find myself sometimes like Dylan will drop a detail about her story or like we'll find out something about like her family or her dad and I'll be like, oh, this is like in this book where blah 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 blah. And I just have to stop and be like, no, like it's never been straight like that. You've never ripped it straight from the books. And I have to figure out what fucking angle you're coming from. And it's like a great puzzle for me. So like I'm really excited to like keep reading through these and being like, that's where she got that from. I know it.
Nope.
So
And there are a couple of like really big things that like you know, like that I know that you know, but you just haven't like clicked it in there
gotten it
yet.
all together. Absolutely. And like there's also some where like I'm like, man, I have my suspicions, but I'm gonna be so embarrassed if I say this. So this is an inside Alex thought that will not come out until I get confirmation of what is happening in this world. I love it. I'm so
It's
excited.
so much fun. I love it.
It's so great. And like the other thing too is like we're talking about all this like backstory and like things from Animorphs and all this stuff, but like we've told each other quite a lot about our characters. So it's buck wild that we still have so much fucking dark secret shit to get through.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to do this all. This is going to be delightful. Kaycie, I'm so glad I bullied you into doing Animorphs so long
Me
ago.
too.
Hell yeah.
No, I think it is exactly how I would want to be brought into an existing fandom, especially one that is still, I feel like still so active, if for nothing else, super active in the group of friends that I spend a lot of time in. But it is the way that I want like nerdy stuff to be, where this is a thing that I am so genuinely excited about. I love, and I want to share it with you, and I want to enjoy it along with you. Like that's how I always want new people being brought into fandoms and just new things to be, and I have never felt that my lack of Animorphs knowledge to this point, meant that I couldn't come to the party. There were still times where I'm just like, I have no idea what's being said, but I'm still just happy to be here. And that's really special. And I think that's really important. So it was, I couldn't have asked for a better group to do this along with.
My heart.
Heck. I gotta say though, like the best part of this, at least for me, is every time I like Penguin Pebble this book series to someone new, my favorite part is seeing the thing that they connect with in it, because it's never the same thing that I've connected with or that like my friends have all connected with. It's always something new, and I'm just like, this is so wonderful. We all just find different facets of this thing and just go, that's mine.
Penguin Pebble.
For you. I love this. I'm so excited. Okay, well, we are coming up on our 2-hour time limit. So, shall we tell the people where they can find us and what we do and all that stuff, and even maybe where this might come up again? But I will start. Who wants to start? I'll let you guys pick this time. I've picked the whole time. Which one of you wants to start?
You want to start?
No.
Me? No,
Oh no, backward.
never. Jenna, go.
You left it
for
to
saying
us.
that.
Oh, you punk. Okay, you can find me at Jenna Chill all over the internet, and you can find me on such podcasts as Horse Girls. What? Oh, yeah, one L. There's only one L in Jenna
L.
Chill. There's only one. And that is absolutely because when I tried to get my gamer tag from a million years ago as a Twitter handle, someone already had it. Doesn't matter. Horse Girls. I am the quest master. You can find me on Surprise Attack Book Club. We do Hearst Girls as Patreon content. I am on D&DB. I'm the Pokedex.
I'm the motherfucking
Yeah.
Goddamn right you are.
On late starters. I get very excited about that one. I'm sorry.
I love it.
Never be
I
sorry.
think, is that it? That can't be it. That can't be it. That's not it.
There's no way. I
There's
mean,
no
I know
way.
that there's more that's coming out, and I know that there's
Yeah.
some that are, we're
Mhm,
getting there.
mhm. Yeah.
That's why you have to follow all of us to find out.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like a treasure hunt
It
of
is.
talent and beauty.
Okay, Kaycie, where can we treasure hunt you?
Oh my
Wait,
god.
it is
I mean,
so
drink
creepy.
first. I would suggest going to my link tree, LIKTR. Wait,
LINKTR.ee.
yeah, that one. That's the problem with Linktree is that I can't spell.
I love that you just Fergied it though.
Linktree.com/fuck. Go to my Linktree, KCD Studios. KCD Studios. It's in my little thing down here. You can find my socials. Namely, what I do is I make a webcomic called B-Side You, which is free to read at bsideyoucomic.com. If you don't go to my link tree, that's where you can find that. It's also on top of some webtoons. It's early 2000s gay romance, music, mixtapes, all that shit. I make it for free and I love it so much. And then if you want to listen to my voice on things, I'm on Late Starters. I'm on Animorphs Anonymous, which is this thing. I'm on, what else am I on?
Hearst Girls.
I'm on Hearst Girls. I talk about Twilight in the Secret Horse Girls Patreon.
Art Corner.
Art Corner, yes. One Tuesday of the month we draw stuff on Art Corner. Next month we're gonna draw some puppies. So come to that.
This
Yeah,
month
that's
is
this month because
puppies.
next month is bugs.
Oh yes, June is bugs. May is puppies.
Ants. Oops, all ants.
Oops. Ooh.
That's fine. I can do ants.
I love it.
I'll do the Bugs Life ants. I think that's mostly. Oh, and Harbinger Chronicles. I was an Andalite over there. Which you should listen to that and get your shit wrecked.
Yeah.
Get your shit wrecked. Do it now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it'll wreck all your shit.
Hey, for all that cool art, if I wanted to own it and put it on things that I have, how could I do that?
I have a store on Fourth Wall. You can find the link in my link tree. I just put up a silly cat sticker today. So I got stickers, I got shirts, I got some elements stuff over there. If you like periodic table of elements as characters, that's over there. Buy my shit.
Yeah.
Or not. I'm not your dad.
I fucking love art. Emily, where can I find more?
More art. You can find more art that I make all across the internet at a swan named Emily. Yeah, don't be a cashew. Constant reminder to all of us. Sit up straight at your desks. Very please. Also, if you want to watch me make art with my amazing, amazing friends, and incredibly talented humans that I have the pleasure of knowing, you can follow us at Doodle Crew Draw. So it is a live art stream that I run on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/swannamedeemily. Also, all of those episodes end up over on my YouTube, so you can watch. We are in season 4. Also, and I wanted to do more of that, you can watch individual interviews with a lot of the artists. That is also there in a playlist. If you want to hear me try and talk about Shakespeare with the amazing Steph Cagnola, you can watch Sketching Shakespeare, which is also over on my YouTube, where she brings me a piece of Shakespeare prose and I illustrate a comic page based on it. If you also want to hear me talk to Steph and 2 other amazing humans in Mike and Tony, you can follow our some Wednesdays of the month chat show called In Addition. So you can find that probably easiest just to follow that in the podcatcher of your choice, because we don't have a consistent schedule anymore. If you would like to own any of the stickers that Alex is so amazingly holding up, you can find them over on my Etsy shop. Also, if you would like to support me, yes,
I need that one. That's Spook Kitty. I need it.
Spook Kitty, good. I have one more. I will send it to you.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You can also, if you would like to support more of my art and see some of the behind the scenes stuff of my traveling to Comic-Cons and all of that, you can follow me over on Patreon. There is a tier where you get stickers every month and a tier where you can make requests about the stickers that I make for you. So if you'd like to see custom stickers, that is also a possibility. But yeah, that's me. Yay!
Yay! I love it. I love it so much. The mushroom is my favorite. I'm sorry.
my
I
favorite
use so
too.
many amazing stickers, but
No, I love the
mushrooms-
mushroom. I'm very proud of that one.
Mushroom and that mermaid with the purple hair, because I like to pretend that I'm her sometimes.
Punk rock mermaid.
So good.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Also, Austin's putting all of these links in the chat. So if you want any of them to anyone, our beloved Austin has them in the chat.
Thank you.
You guys ready? I'm going to do mine in a crash course. lanktr.ee/AlexandBirds. Like this, Alex and Birds. I'm that on Twitter and X and the Blue Skies or whatever. Anyways, you can find me on all this stuff. I'm on Animorphs Anonymous, Dungeons and Drake and Beams, Horse Girls, Late Starters, Questmaster, Art Corner. Who knows? Find me all over the internet. It's fine. I'm around. And also, we are going to do one of these again in June. We will make another flyer thing and post it. So we're going to read the next, I think 5 books is the plan. I'm not committing to it. Fuck it. I won't commit to anything. That's it. That's our stream. I hope you enjoyed it. We did it.
Yay!
Yeah. Right.
Thank you,
Right.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thank you. Here, have a heart.
Okay,
Goodbye.
Dabs. Ow!
Oh, no.
Oh no! You dabbed too close to the sun.
Oh no!